Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Jimmy Henderson, a cognitive scientist and metaphysician. I specialize in examination and study of the subconscious mind, and tonight I'm going to be taking you through an exercise to investigate and to explore the depths of your own subconscious mind. It has been said in many books and articles that in order to know oneself, one must face oneself. What they're actually saying is one must have the courage and the strength to actually enter one's own subconscious and face whatever lies there. There have been many metaphors through the ages to discuss this, facing oneself, facing the subconscious mind, and also the allegory of the cave. In other words, seeing one's subconscious mind as a cave, a dark cave in which one needs courage, fortitude, and strength and will to actually enter this cave and face whatever you find within the depths, the dark depths of this cave. Yes, it can be dark if one considers the contents of your own subconscious mind as dark, as there's much pain, memories, bad memories, possibly negative experiences that are still contained there within your subconscious mind. So tonight I'm going to be using the allegory of the cave to take you through this process. You'll notice that I've used very subdued light tonight, and there's a reason for that. In that, for those of you that can meditate and who can visualize successfully and have spontaneous imagery, which I will discuss later, you might find it almost like a guided meditation. For those of you that do not meditate, just see it as an explanation. So let us begin this journey this night, and for those of you that wish to meditate, I urge you to relax and follow my words and my explanations as I take you through into the depths of your own subconscious mind. This is not a fruitless exercise, because during this exercise you will be encountering your true self, your authentic self, as well as making contact with your soul, which is the true spiritual essence of the person. Let us begin, therefore, and with the exercise of visualization, and imagine yourself walking down a path through a wooded area, and you see a cave in the distance, a very large cave. The cave symbolizes to you your subconscious mind, and you see it going down, leading down into the depths. This will indicate to your mind, in your own subconscious mind, that you wish to enter the depths of your subconscious mind. In other words, you're setting an intention that the cave is your subconscious mind, and hopefully your subconscious mind will accept this rule and allow you to change your state, your conscious state, and your emotions as you enter into this journey into the depths of yourself. Okay, as you enter the cave, it's dark, but it's not completely dark. It's enough for you to see. And as you stumble down slowly inside the cave, you probably will begin to feel a bit uncomfortable, and sensations. Be open to those sensations. Allow yourself to feel, because the emotion is a very strong part of visualization. As I said before in my previous talks, visualization works because your subconscious mind cannot accurately tell the difference between an imagery and the real situation. So to your subconscious mind, when you enter in the cave, having set the intention, you have actually set a rule and your subconscious mind will now respond to that and reveal the contents to you. So you're moving slowly now down through the cave. You're stumbling a little bit. You're not too sure what to expect. The most likely experience that you will have in the beginning is encountering your archetypes. You know, we all have these memories, pain, possibly trauma from the past, which have been packaged into the energy has been repressed, sort of concentrated into packages, which to us, when you encounter them, will actually appear in your mind as human-like figures. These are the archetypes that exist within the human psyche. You may be familiar with some of them: the inner child, the hero, the nurturer, and the victim, which is a nasty fellow, and we'll talk about later. So I want you to imagine now that you are in your cave. You are feeling a little bit uncertain, and you're starting to see in the darkness. You're starting to see human-like figures appearing to your mind's eye. Human-like figures which represent your archetypes. Some of them may appear normal, and some of them could be a little bit grotesque. Actually, what happens is the actual characteristics of the energy will manifest to you in different ways, in symbolic ways, in metaphoric ways. In other words, the inner child will come to you as a child, a small child, possibly disheveled, possibly looking very poor and raggedy, or otherwise a very happy child, depending on how your inner child has been allowed to express. The other more nasty ones are anger. The angry man archetype could appear to you as a person with an angry demeanor who accuses you of a number of things, and by his demeanor and his dress you will see that this is not a pleasant figure. Do not be afraid at this point. These are only parts of your own psyche that are taking form in your mind. The energies have been packaged and are concentrated in this way, and to you they will appear as human-like figures by the power of your mind to create images from cues, different cues and energy cues and impressions. Your mind has this power. It's called synesthesia. And so through the process of synesthesia, you're actually forming human-like figures out of your own feelings, your repressed feelings, your pain, your hurt, your trauma. Right, so you're now in the presence of these. You will find that some of them, more of them, will present themselves to you. Some of them could be quite nasty, like the victim archetype I mentioned earlier. Excuse me, this is all your suppressed pain, trauma, all the feelings of unfairness and that you have felt over the years, that life is not treating you fairly, that you've been done in, and can lead to feelings of resentment against persons, family, or simply against the world, the whole social system itself. That would be the victim, be embodied in the victim archetype. And allow these archetypes to approach you. Do not be afraid of them. As I say, they're all part of you, and they cannot hurt you. You have actually created them. They in fact are your own offspring or children, if you want to look at it that way. So that is half the story, that you've now entered the point where you are being confronted by your archetypes, and you need to deal with them in order to pass through the subconscious mind to find a treasure of the authentic self and of the soul that lies beyond the subconscious mind. You see, the subconscious mind is actually the interface between your conscious mind and reality out there, the universe. And in order to know the universe and to pass through to these levels of authentic consciousness and soul, you need to pass through this, almost like an initiation process, where you face yourself and face your fears and face your doubts and face your archetypes within your subconscious mind. As I said, this is only half the story. The other half is moving through these and past these archetypes. And the only way to do this is to resolve them. In other words, be prepared to face them and communicate with these parts of yourself, almost like an inner communication taking place. You'll find that these archetypes appear to have a consciousness of their own, that you can actually talk to them, and that they will give impressions and ideas that will appear in your mind, that you will actually know what they are saying to you, or what their meaning is intuitively. Because, as I said, they are parts of your own mind. So it's one part of your mind talking to the other part, to the conscious part. You will know what the grievance is. In other words, let's say, for example, a small pathetic little child in a corner would be your inner child, who is telling you and accusing you of neglect, that you've neglected your inner child and allowed it to become dirty and disheveled and so covered up with muck and conditioning that your inner child, your inner joy, has never been allowed to fully express itself. And that's a pity. And you'll feel the sadness from this child. And the way that you would pass by this child is to actually address it and forgive yourself in a way, by asking the child to forgive you for what you have done to it. In other words, acknowledge the child as your part of you, ask for forgiveness, commit to a new action, that you will allow your inner child to be more free, that you will be willing to experience more childlike joy in your life, and not live a conditioned existence. And if your inner child accepts your commitment, it will forgive. As I said, it's like forgiving yourself. And the child will smile and possibly change and transform into a much happier looking child. And then you can move on. And so you have to face each archetype which appears to you in turn, especially the victim archetype, that nasty fellow which will accuse you of this and accuse you of that and accuse the world and assign blame to everybody. And the way to deal with this archetype is to accept responsibility. It's once again to address the archetype and say, yes, I created you, but that's because I did not face up to the truth. The truth is that a lot of my consequences are as a result of my actions, and that I'm not too happy to have this situation, and I'm asking you to resolve yourself. Let me let go. Let me forgive those who have trespassed against me, and forgive myself, letting go of the resentments, the anger, the judgment, and the guilt that goes with it, with that archetype. And if your archetype responds, you then need to commit to a new course of action where you start accepting responsibility for your own life, acknowledging that much of your issues have been as a result of your own decisions, and then you commit to a new, more purposeful, powerful way of living, free and independent. And you will find that this victim archetype will respond to that and possibly smile and fade into the distance, allowing you to pass. And that is what you're looking for, is to be able to deal with your archetypes and pass through into deeper levels of your subconscious mind. At this point, you've hopefully passed through your archetypes. As I say, there might be more than one or two or three. You might have to deal with them, and each will be an aspect of your own self that you have to then face and forgive. At the end of this, you should feel a bit lighter, and then you actually should see some light at the end of the cave. This is what you're looking for, is the light of the authentic self, which is actually the light of the soul, which is now shining through from the other side, from the higher levels, entering through the cave of your subconscious mind, and then becomes the authentic self. Before it gets, the authentic self is that part of you that is pure and innocent and unconditioned, like a newborn baby, pure, innocent, and one needs to return to that. If one wishes to pass through to the level of soul and higher consciousness, one has to first acknowledge and work with one's authentic self, true self, higher self. So you have now passed your archetypes and all the issues that they brought with him, and you see the light in the distance. And now you see yourself actually moving up. You're moving upwards towards the light. And the light in this case represents the higher consciousness of your authentic self. However, there is another exercise that you can do just to clear out your subconscious mind. Working with the archetypes was a long process, difficult process, and now you feel that the cave is a little bit lighter. But there's another exercise you can do, a visualization, that you can imagine now that having passed through and moving up once again through the cave, you see a river of water, of beautiful clear water coming in one side, the side where you entered, and you see this beautiful fresh water coming through and washing away all the debris that's left within the cave. The archetypes have now been cleared, but if you look, there's still debris, there's still stones, there's still rocks, there's still obstacles, and this water is now coming through like a river, beautiful river, and washing it out, right out at the other side, becoming more sparkling, and the cave becomes more sparkling, more beautiful, clean, and if you are fortunate, crystalline, lined with beautiful crystals, beautiful light. Your subconscious mind, you have now passed through, and you've reached the authentic self. At this point, you should feel a lot of difference. You should feel much lighter and a bit disorientated possibly, but it's all part of the process. So a very good invocation to connect with your subconscious mind is the I am meditation. So at this point I will take you through this. So you're at the outer edge of your cave, you're now facing the light, and you say to yourself, I am that I am. Then the next line you say, I am. Wait a few seconds. And the final invocation is just I, which you can say a few times. I. But now while you're saying this, you must actually feel it. You must feel the consciousness of I, the pure consciousness of I, unpolluted and unconditioned. I, pure realization, and if you truly experience the I, you will notice an expansion of consciousness that takes place. A beautiful new realization of what it is to be free, what it is when your consciousness is free and raised to a new level. In order to access this, you have to pass through the cave, the initiation of the cave, which I've just described. And now if you follow the process, you have reached the point where you are feeling the I, the pure consciousness of I, a new experience, a feeling a great feeling of freedom and authenticity. But this is not the end. I want you to abide within this feeling of consciousness, authentic self, and realization for a few moments. Notice the light that surrounds you, especially surrounds your head and your crown. Notice the realization that has come. And now I want you, in your visualization, are you looking out the cave now? You've passed out of the cave into the light of the authentic self, and looking upwards you actually see an even brighter light, like the sun above you. And there's a ray extending down from the sun, extending down to the crown of your head. If you look up, the sun represents your soul, the consciousness of your soul, the pure energy template of the human being before it incarnates. This is the ultimate goal and treasure of the cave. It is not gold and precious stones, but soul consciousness, which comes after passing through the subconscious mind, reaching one's authentic self, and then looking up and seeing the sun above. So I want you to move your consciousness now upwards. Try and project your consciousness into this light, up the ray that descends from the sun, and project your consciousness into the sun, which is, as you set your intent, becomes your soul, the real energy of the human being. And try and bask in this feeling. Here's another exercise I'll give you now, which will help you to connect with your soul. Once you reach this state of light, ask yourself, what is my name? What is your name? What is your name? What is your name? If you give your name as it is now, in this incarnation, you have not fully accepted the soul. Try to live in this experience, try to hold this experience as long as you can, until you feel the feeling of exhilaration, an uplifting feeling, and then ask again, what is your name? What you're looking for is the answer, I have no name. I have no name. For the soul has no name. The soul is the pure expression of the universal soul. Each individual soul is a divine expression of the universal soul. There is no name. You take on a name when you incarnate. So if you reach this point where you have no name, and you realize that you have no name, you are touching the soul. So I want you to remain in this state as long as you can. You have no name. You are soul. The soul consciousness is the highest level which we as humans can return to. And this is the ultimate aim of the passage through the subconscious mind, of the exploration of the subconscious mind, past the archetypal figures, past the bad memories, the negativity, through the authentic self, and then on to the realm of soul. To reunite with our soul and express and be what we were meant to be. I hope this process has been useful for you. For those of you that have been visualizing and meditating, I wish that you've had the experience as I have had in the past, and I wish you the best. For those of you that had not yet mastered meditation and visualization, I would encourage you to go to my website www.discoveringyourself.co.za and have a look at my article, which is How to Meditate and Visualize Successfully. How to Meditate and Visualize Successfully. I think it's the second article on my website. If you work through this article and then possibly use this recording once again, you might find it very, very useful. So once again, I want to wish you all well, and thank you for tuning in to this presentation, and I pray that you will all benefit from this. Thank you.